Hello and welcome back to the Wasteland, everybody. Welcome back to Fallout 4, where today we're going to be doing another top 10 list for Fallout 4, but this time we're going to be taking a look at the best implemented weapons, or the best designed weapons. Recently, I did a couple videos talking about the most disappointing weapons in each of the Fallout games, at least the more modern Fallout games of Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4, but let's actually take a look at like the more positive side of this, and give Bethesda some credit for what they did in Fallout 4. This also isn't in any particular order too, these are just like the 10 best weapons that I could find in terms of design. So, coming in at my number 10 spot, we've got the Gatling laser. Now, the Gatling laser, in terms of looks, I think this is fine. The Gatling laser has basically always looked good in any of the Fallout games. This one, it definitely looks the most crude out of the Gatling lasers, but I don't hate that about it. So that's perfectly fine. It feels really good to be shooting this, and I do like the way that they've use the fusion cores for this. I don't really like how common fusion cores are, but I do like that this uses basically the same type of energy that the power armor does. So that is really cool. It's got some really good animations. It feels pretty satisfying to use. I don't necessarily think it's one of the strongest weapons in the game in terms of like balance, unless of course you get like a bleed one or something like that. And I do kind of like the idea of this too, where even people in the Wasteland could put this together, of it's basically just like multiple laser rifles that you've cut the actual laser off, I guess just cut the stock off and then attach it to this so that they can actually spin up and fire. I do think that's kind of a cool idea. So Gatling laser remains a pretty cool weapon. Coming in at number 9, we got Grognak's axe. This is one of the few unique weapons that actually looks different, and I do like this one quite a bit for multiple reasons. One is that the axe does actually look pretty decent, so that is very nice. Even though I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be like a prop axe, it works all the same as a regular axe, so there's that. It does fit with like the comic books that you can find around the Wasteland with Grognak the Barbarian. I do like that this isn't necessarily like a double-headed axe like how you usually see with barbarians in fantasy. I don't necessarily like that as much as just one single axe head on there, or like this where it's one big single axe and then a cut-down axe on the other side, so at least they could have some sort of different functions. I think that just looks better overall, and I mean, it's a really cool looking axe. Is it the coolest axe we got in the game? I'm not sure, because we got Knock Knock and like Fallout New Vegas, and I do like that one a lot. Coming in at number 8, we got the plasma rifle and the plasma rifle family. The plasma rifle in this does look pretty good. One thing that Fallout 4 did well was actually the energy weapons, with the exception of like the Institute gun. I'm not a huge fan of that one. That one's just too blocky. If it was squished down a bit, I don't think I would have such a problem with it. The plasma rifle being bigger and bulkier, I think is perfectly fine, because like that's kind of how it's always been in all the Fallout games. The plasma rifle has changed quite a lot throughout the games. This still feels really good to use. The amount of customization on it feels great too, simply because you can turn it into basically anything, whether you want like a plasma sniper, a plasma pistol, plasma shotgun, plasma flamethrower device. You have a ton of options here, so that is really cool, and like the reload animation and the way that your person wields it, I think is actually pretty good, so I don't really have a problem with the plasma rifle. It is pretty well done. Coming in at number 7, we got the Syringer. This is probably the only pipe gun that I really like, and it's mostly because it kind of makes sense, and I just like the idea of having like an air gun in the game, since we do have like the BB gun in the older games, and that's not necessarily air, it could be like springs. It seems like it's probably springs. It would be kind of cool to see more air rifles in the world of Fallout, because you could always make different ones. I'm also thinking of like the Takar from Metro, where you see that, and that one was a really overpowered weapon in like Exodus. But the Syringer is a really cool idea. It sadly isn't very good. It's one of the worst weapons in Fallout 4. It has almost no redeeming qualities about it whatsoever. Like all the different ammos that it can take, it's cool that it has a whole bunch of different ammos and that you can craft a whole bunch of different ammos. I really like that aspect of it, but most of them don't really do much. Like the best one I found is the one that causes enemies to potentially explode into a bloatfly, and that's because if you're playing on like survival, there's just a high chance if you see a regular enemy and you shoot them with this, they might turn into a legendary bloatfly, and then you can just farm uniques off of them easier. That's about the only real like bonus that I've seen from using this as an actual weapon. But the design of it is really cool. I do like these air guns, and I do like the fact that you can craft custom ammo. Coming in at number 6, we've got the 2076 baseball bat. This one is just really cool. It's really hard to screw up a baseball bat, and good thing Bethesda didn't. This one, they actually added even more stuff to it with the unique effect of sending enemies flying, so you get more ragdoll effects from using this weapon. It is a super fun weapon to be using. It is very satisfying to be using. It's probably my favorite melee weapon, and this is coming from somebody who does not like melee in Fallout 4. I find it rather janky and kind of disappointing when enemies can just block your attacks, but if you give me the ability to send them flying with each hit, I'm going to tolerate it a whole lot better, so I think this is my favorite melee weapon in the game. Coming in at number 5, we got the Handmade rifle, the good old AK that you get in Nuka World. The Handmade rifle, I think, is definitely one of the better, like, thrown together weapons. Now, it still has some problems, mostly with it being mirrored, like all the guns, so it is left-handed even though you shoot it right-handed. So I don't really care for that too much. I talked about that in like the worst design videos, specifically with like the hunting rifle. It feels weirder with like a bolt action that you're using like right-handed, but it's a left-handed gun. More so than like an automatic weapon. I feel like you would get a whole lot more used to that. I don't know why, it's just there's something with me that makes a little bit more sense than the other way. But beyond that, I think they did a fantastic job with this gun. It does look like an AK or like a thrown together AK, so that's really cool. Uses actually the correct ammo too at the 7.62. And I do like the way that you can customize this, where it can be just a regular AK. You can cut it down to basically an AK-74U. You could upscale it almost to a Dragunov. Doesn't exactly function like a Dragunov, but at least it would be something like that. Or you can make it like a drum mag with a fully automatic thing. And that's pretty cool. I like the customization with this weapon. It does feel really good to use. It's incredibly powerful. The two unique versions are extremely overpowered. Coming in at number 4, we've got the Western revolver, staying with Nuka World, I guess. This one is essentially just a reskin 44, but the 44 looks pretty good by comparison to the other weapons in the game. Yes, it is a little bit too big. It is kind of scaled up. That's just for power armor. Sadly, they did that with all the weapons, and they just look kind of weird because of that. But the Western revolver does feel really good to use. It feels very powerful. I like that it is a single action revolver, although in my opinion this one could be actually kind of cooler if it was using like a single action army or a variant of a single action army. I think that would look a little bit better simply because then like it would make more sense for the single action only, since the 44 that you seem to be shooting looks like it would be more double action, but your person always shoots it in single action. Not that you couldn't do that if you didn't want to, but it would make a little bit more sense for the Western revolver to have that. You know, something like the 357 that we got in New Vegas. Coming in at number 3, we got the Radium rifle. I really like the Radium rifle. I think that it's probably one of the best designed, like, fantasy designs that we've gotten, even though it is based off of a real gun. I like all the things that they've thrown to this and the way that they've changed it. So this is actually based off of a real gun. This is the Volksgewehr, which was like a last-ditch rifle that was used in World War II on the German side. It is also very interesting that they've chambered it in 45, although I don't really have a problem with them rechambering this into 45. I think that actually works pretty well for a gun like this. And I like the way that this one looks. It looks like, one, a real rifle, so that's really good, and an obscure rifle, so that's also kind of cool. But then they've also put like added little bits and bobs to this that makes it look like it would fit more in the Fallout universe. As well as I like the fact that it does radiation damage. It kind of makes sense for something like this. So I do really like this design. I'm not always the biggest fan of like the upgrades, at least with the longer barrel. That one kind of bothers me because they put like the satellite dish basically on the front of it, and I don't really like that. Coming in at number 2, we've got the Deliverer. The Deliverer I think is fantastic. This is the unique 10mm pistol, and this one's based off the Walther PPK. And it looks really cool. The Walther PPK is a fantastic looking gun anyway. I like that it made it into here. Now this one is scaled up. It is quite a bit chunkier than a regular PPK. And I mean, it is chambered in 10mm, so you would have to make it quite a bit chunkier if you wanted to make this in real life. But a very cool design. Definitely one of the best looking pistols in this game. And the fact that it uses 10mm means that you can use this basically at any point in the game and you're probably gonna have a pretty good time. And then coming in at my number 1 spot, we've got the handy dandy laser rifle. The laser rifle just looks solid in this game. I like all the customizations for it. The laser rifle has basically always been a really good weapon in any of the Fallout games. I can't think of any where it was disappointing, because like even in the older games, in the first game it was arguably the best long-range gun. In Fallout 2 it was pretty solid. Tactics, it was very good as well. It was a really good like end-game general purpose rifle. 3 had the metal blaster, which was insanely overpowered, and New Vegas also had an overpowered laser rifle thanks to bugs. Fallout 4 feels kind of the same way, where it just feels very solid at doing its job. This has probably been one of the most consistent weapons in any of the Fallout games, so I do really appreciate it. I'm glad that the laser rifle is still something that is very good, and in this it at least looks very good too. And that'll do it for the 10 best designed weapons in Fallout 4. I really do like these. I think that a lot of them are actually pretty decent, even though, and I've talked about this plenty of times, Fallout 4 has a lot of weapons that are rather disappointing in terms of designs or feel or whatever it might be. But there are some standouts. There are some really good ones too. If you'd like to see this with the other Fallout games like Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and like the classic games, then feel free to leave those down in the comments below. I'd love to hear that. Thank you guys so very much for watching this. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.